Hi, hope everybody's doing well, staying safe at home. This is going to be a video on my John Lennon CD collection. I'll try to do it as best I can in chronological order. Going to start here with the Plastic Ono Band album. This is the remastered version. This is the original CD issue of Imagine. And the book has lyrics, not many pictures. This is the remastered version, which came out a few years ago. And it does not have the postcard on the back like this version does. And the booklet has more pictures, also lyrics and credits. All from the studio session or from that period of 1971. One of my least favorite John Lennon albums is the Sometime in New York City. This is the original CD release. And it does have a fairly substantial book with it. This was what was in the gatefold of the vinyl album. And then it's got other pictures. And the lyrics as they appear on the cover and some credits. The first disc was the studio album, and then the second disc was the live jam album. This is the remastered Mind Games. And it also has lyrics and drawings, some pictures. From the 1973 period, right before the Lost Weekend, infamous Lost Weekend. This is the original Walls and Bridges CD release. Excuse me. This has got photographs that include the album artwork, credits, drawings from John Lennon in his childhood. It was kind of nice to see John smiling and kind of acting goofy again after a period where it seemed he'd gotten very serious. This is the Rock and Roll original CD release. And this was, of course, the album that he recorded as part of the settlement with Morris Levy for the lawsuit, where Morris Levy sued him because he used the first line of Come Together, Here Comes Old Flat Top, which was actually taken from You Can't Catch Me, that Chuck Berry recorded. This is the very first John Lennon compilation, and this is the only CD version. I don't think this was ever remastered. And this has some slightly modified tracks. It's got a medley of Give Peace a Chance and Cold Turkey. And then closing out the album was a medley of Happy Christmas, War is Over, and a little snippet of Give Peace a Chance. And the last studio album released during his lifetime, obviously, was Double Fantasy. This back picture here was reversed, maybe so they could include the track listing here, but they do reproduce it on the back of the CD booklet. Inside the booklet are just the lyrics like you find on the inner sleeve of the vinyl album. This was the original CD release on Polydor of Milk and Honey. And the inside of the booklet just reproduces the gatefold and has the lyrics that were on the original inner sleeve of the album. This is the next John Lennon compilation, the John Lennon collection. Probably the one to get if you're going to get any John Lennon compilation. This has pretty much all his best stuff on here. And this picture and the cover picture were actually taken on the day that he was murdered during a photo session that he sat for, which I didn't realize until a few years ago. This is the Live in New York City album. I'm still waiting for this to come out on DVD. I've got it on VHS and I've got the cassette version, but I'd love to have this on DVD. I don't know why they haven't released it. I don't know if they're waiting for some kind of anniversary. This is the Menlove Avenue album, which came out in the mid-'80s, and these were outtakes from the Walls and Bridges and Rock and Roll studio sessions. Actually pretty good. Some of these versions I prefer to the ones that appeared on Walls and Bridges. Here We Go Again was never commercially released before, and Rock and Roll People also were two songs that I believe nobody's, until the release of this CD or this album, had heard. And then when the Imagine movie came out in the 80s, this was the album of the soundtrack. And this has selections both from the Beatles and also John Lennon's solo career, so the most comprehensive compilation to date. This includes all the original credits and photographs that were part of the original album and cassette release. And the two rarities which are on this compilation are, it's a Day in the Life, which is a clean intro. It doesn't have the fade out from Sgt. Pepper's Reprise on here. And then also there's a very nice Imagine rehearsal that you see in the movie that was included on this compilation. So the sound quality on here is very good. This was the first John Lennon box set that was released. It's a 4-disc set, and it includes material from the Live Peace in Toronto album all the way through Milk and Honey. This is disc 1. This is disc 2. And the last disc. That's what the CDs look like. And then there is a booklet in here, which has, it's got photographs, information about the albums, and lyrics. The Plastic Ono Band is in here on its entirety, and pretty much all of his studio tracks are on here with a few exceptions. So it really is, if you're able to pick this up, if you're not wanting to buy the studio albums individually, although I think it might be out of print. I'm pretty sure it's out of print actually. So this was the acoustic album, which are acoustic, in some cases, demos or outtakes, alternate takes, which feature him on acoustic guitar. And inside the booklet, it actually has a tablature for the songs. It's got the chords for each song, so you can play along if you're a guitar player. This was the John Lennon Anthology box set, which is a 4-disc set of alternate takes. This was disc 1. Which covers the Ascot period. CD 2, which covers the early 70s. They all slide here nicely into their own little sleeve. This was the Lost Weekend period. And the last one are the Dakota period. My CDs are sliding onto here. And then there's a book also included. Won't go through the book, but it's just got pictures and a couple of essays in it. The next John Lennon compilation to appear on the market was Lennon Legend. And this reproduces most of the tracks that were on the John Lennon collection. And there was also a DVD that came out with videos, although some of them were newer videos that they had just recently filmed. This was the, I always forget what this is called, the stripped down version of Double Fantasy. And this was the Double Fantasy album stripped of all the overdubs and double tracking of his vocals. And so it's really a stripped down. It's almost like if he had recorded Double Fantasy the way he had recorded the Plastic Ono Band is what it sounds like. And then these are actually pencil drawings. The artwork is pencil drawings from John Lennon. And it has the stripped down album, and it also has the original Double Fantasy album as part of this set. This is an interview disc that I got. It's in the slim case, and it is the last interview that John gave on the day that he was murdered. He gave it in the morning. I'm not sure why they chose this photograph for the cover, considering this was from 1965, but whatever. This is Power to the People, the hits, the most recent compilation. It's a 1 disc of music and 1 DVD with videos. And then this is the John Lennon signature box set, which is pretty mammoth. And it contains all of his studio albums with the exception of the experimental 2 versions, Life with the Lions and the Wedding album. And there's also a disc of singles and some home tapes. And this is pretty much what the discs look like. I won't take each one out, but and then there's also a booklet as well. Which slides out of here like a little secret compartment. Actually, you know what that is? I'm sorry, that's not where the booklet comes out of. This is actually a lithograph. So it's almost like an Easter egg, kind of, if you weren't paying attention when you opened this. But this is the actual booklet. Pictures and essays. And that is my John Lennon CD collection. Thanks for watching. Hope you're all safe and well.